Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. This is Captain Walton once again. Today we're going to be doing a short 247 nautical mile flight in the Majestic Software Dash 8 Q400. We're going to be flying from Buffalo, New York with the Fly Tampa Buffalo scenery into Washington, D.C. into IAD. We have 70 passengers aboard using FS Passengers 2015. We are using Ground Services X, GSX, and that's who's pushing us back. We're flying for United or Colgan Air, even though we're being pushed back by US Airways. I'll post the route and video description below, and I hope you enjoyed the ride all the way into Washington, D.C. So sit back and relax.
Set parking brakes.
That is the Delta Airlines safety demonstration. Sorry, can't talk today. For Delta Airlines. That does not come default with FS Passengers 2015. It is a add-on to FS Passengers. It works in 2004 or FSX Steam Edition. I'm sure it would work in Prepared 3D as well. So if you're interested in that, I'll post it in the comment section as well, and you can download it. So let's go ahead and get the aircraft started here.
Is clear. Right is clear.
However, if there is a loss of power and cabin visibility is reduced, white emergency lights near the floor will need to be
Clear to start engines.
Please take a moment to find the exits closest to you.
Okay, so we're going to start the number 2 first.
It's unlikely that if cabin pressure changes, the panels above your seat will open, revealing oxygen mask. If this happens, reach up and pull a mask toward you until the tube is fully extended. Place the mask over your nose and mouth, slip the elastic strap over your head, and adjust the mask if necessary. Breathe normally and know that oxygen is flowing, so don't worry if the bag doesn't inflate. Be sure to adjust your own mask before helping others.
Okay.
A water evacuation is also unlikely, but
start number 1.
Life vests are located under your seat in the economy cabin. If you're seated in the first or business class cabin, the life vests are either between your seats, under your seat, or in a compartment under your armrest. To use, pull the tab to remove the vest from its container, and then open the pouch. Slip the vest over your head. Fasten the 2 straps to the front of the vest, and then adjust the straps loosely around your waist. If your vest has only 1 strap, wrap it around your waist and attach it to the
we have both
button.
engines running.
As you leave the plane, inflate the vest by pulling
Inspection
down
and
the red
taxi
tab at the bottom of the
lights.
vest.
We're going to get a
Or
minimum
manually
prop of
inflate it by
850.
blowing into the tube at shoulder level. You can activate a light by pulling
Our
down
autopilot
the
was already set for 17,000 feet, vertical speed of 1,700 feet.
automatically in the water. If necessary,
We have free and clear controls. All lights are out except for the parking brake.
Also, most deep missions can be used for flotation.
Just doing a quick scan of the panel. Nothing there that is of any interest.
Upright and locked.
Go ahead and turn the APU off.
And all carry-on items are properly
Okay.
stowed.
We are good and set to go here, so let's go ahead and taxi on out.
Now would be a good time for everyone to review the safety information card, which is in your seat pocket. Thanks for your attention. Enjoy your flight.
enough fuel on board. Total of just about 4,000 pounds. Which is not very much, but it leaves a good percentage of our fuel tank empty. So there's 4 fuel tanks on the Q400, 2 in each wing. There is no belly tank. Some folks may not realize also that just down here below the engine display, there's a fuel control transfer switch. So if you ever needed to transfer fuel to get a proper balance, because the other day I was flying and I had a major imbalance, or at least what I thought was a major imbalance, and didn't realize that the Q400 had transfer control. I had to look it up and in the Q400 manual, and sure enough it did have that. So let's go ahead and line up here on runway 5 for departure. We're looking for about 125 knots. Okay.
Flight attendants, prepare for takeoff.
Okay, we are now ready for departure. Is requiring a lot of rudder movement to keep it on the runway. The winds, I'm going to take it, are pretty strong. Where's 125? Beautiful. Yeah, the winds are definitely strong. Yikes. 16 knot crosswind. Yeah, that would definitely explain it. Got about 18 knot crosswind, 19 knots now. Some thunderheads in the area on the weather radar there. Passing 2,700 feet at 188 knots. We almost have a headwind of about 19 knots. Passengers are getting a little bit nervous because of the turbulence, but we will be alright. Pretty bumpy turbulence here. This departure is definitely a weird one out of Buffalo, and pretty much we have to do practically a whole 360-degree turn. So it's a very weird departure, one that I have not done before. and the wind is violently strong, 25 knot direct right crosswind. But we need to keep our speed up, so the aircraft keeps wanting to turn to level out, but I'm going to go ahead and get us on the LNAV and let the autopilot take it from here. Now it's going to turn us back to the right, so whatever. Passengers are getting a nice good view of the ground when they can see through the clouds. So, okay, with us being at 230 knots, I'm going back down to power prop to 900 now. Which you really should do that about 1,500 feet on a thrust reduction. But sometimes I forget to do that. Or sometimes I just don't do it at all if I need the power. So unless I get into cruise, then once you're in cruise, I back it down to 850 on the power prop. So passing 8,700 feet. Beautiful clouds though. But we do have some very strong turbulence. Go ahead and turn on the port fans. Ten 10,000 feet, landing lights can come off. I'm going to go ahead and turn the storm lights on though. There we go. Almost to 250 knots. I appreciate you all watching the departure in the majestic Q400 out of Buffalo, New York. Join us here momentarily for the landing in Washington Dulles International Airport in Washington. Thank you. Okay folks, welcome back. Captain Walton once again. We are descending here into Washington Dulles International, holding here at about 1,800 feet. I just need to detect our altimeter. It's going to be 2992. Been a little busy texting and everything during this flight, so I do apologize for that. I started my descent on time, but I did not pay very good attention. Yes, we are somewhat low, but it's a good scenery, good views, beautiful woods and trees. We'll be landing with flaps at 15. We don't need any more than that. Dulles' runways are more than long enough to handle it.
1,000.
Some lightning off in the area there. I don't mind flying low, like I said, with this though, because the scenery is very pretty. Trees, an abundant amount of trees. So back off the power a little bit because we do have our flaps set at 5. We don't want to put any undue strain on the flaps. Okay, we are scheduled to land on runway 30, runway 30. I do believe that is, I believe that over there, the lights that are flashing, that is Reagan, DCA Airport, which is the airport I love to fly into. I absolutely love going into Reagan. But we are not going into Reagan today. So with our current, with the winds currently at 180 at 13, or no, I'm sorry, excuse me, the winds are actually, they're actually about out of, I'm going to say right at probably 300 at 13 knots. So we need to go past the airport, which is up there. You can see it straight ahead, the terminal building. So we need to actually fly past the airport and turn around and come back into runway 30. So we'll go ahead and make that approach. I apologize for the music in the background. I cannot figure out how to shut this stuff off and it's driving me nuts. Okay, passenger seatbelt signs are on. Holding a decent airspeed. There would be Ronald Reagan Airport, I do believe. No, maybe it's not because I don't see downtown DC, so okay, it's not. That's interesting. That's really interesting. So I know Reagan is not too far from Dulles unless it's out that way and I had been mistaken. So, which is highly possible. I mean, I don't come over here that much. So, anyways, when we land in Dulles here, we're going to be continuing on Colgan Air Flight 4884 to Newark, New Jersey. If you're interested in sticking around and watching that video. So what we're going to do here is fly at about a heading of 220 degrees, or 200 degrees. So we can run parallel with the runway and turn around and come back into Dulles. Some lightning strikes out there, so we've got to be careful with that. Definitely some lightning, so there's definitely some storms in the area. Let me get the terrain weather or the terrain radar off and get the weather radar on. Okay, yeah, that's the area that the lightning strikes is coming from, in that red area. So we're definitely going to be playing Beat the Storm. It's been a very, very, very long time from what I can remember that I've been into Dulles International on Flight Sim, and I don't think I've ever been there real world. So it's definitely fun coming into an airport that you have not gone into in a while. Or I definitely enjoy it anyways. So we're going to go out just a few miles, probably where that road bends right out here to the left. We'll go just past that and configure the aircraft for landing and turn around and come on into runway 30, which I believe is the far runway over there. So we're backing off the airspeed a little bit. Okay, now that we have a decent distance between us and Dulles International, I'm probably going to fly just a little bit further. I think that out there is DCA. I was mistaken the other airport earlier, but that one straight ahead I do believe is DCA or Reagan International. But we're going to fly straight ahead just a little bit, probably to where those lights start on the ground there, a little bit further than I originally planned. But I do want a steady approach and don't want any issues. So with that being said, that's why we're doing that. There is lightning strikes in the area and some pretty severe weather. It was showing a little bit earlier on the radar. It's not really showing anything as severe now because we have lowered our radar distance, so it's definitely more than 10 miles out from our current location, or at least right at 10 where we cannot see on the display. So, alright, I'm going to go ahead and make a left-hand turn to just about there. Go ahead and drop the gear here. I have a SideTech instrument panel, landing gear panel, and light switches, things like that, so that's what I enjoy using. Okay, we're going to make some more of a turn here to get ourselves turned for the runway. As the gear is down, we're going to go ahead and set the flaps to 10. There's no need for the increased reference speed as we're not detecting any heavy ice. So there's no need for that. Okay. Alright. Well, runway 30 is actually the runway running parallel, or running crossing these three main ones, so we're just going to land on this one here. The wind is still favorable to land. There will be with a crosswind more than likely, which is fine for me. Go ahead and set the flaps to landing flaps at 15. And now we're going to make the approach. Autopilot is off, and we are hand flying the aircraft at this time. This is where we decrease the speed a little bit, but with the Q400 you cannot idle the plane when you're flaring. You never do that. You will have big problems. That's where a lot of bad frame rates come in, and a lot of people don't realize it, is you cannot idle the plane. You have to do a power on landing with the Q400. So that is something to definitely remember. when you do decide to fly the aircraft. The Q400 is very, very responsive when it comes to thrust control, unlike a lot of aircraft. So, especially in particular Airbus. Now I'm not talking anything negative about Airbus because I do really enjoy Airbus aircraft, especially the Aerosoft A319 and 320. Okay. We are battling some pretty heavy winds here. Turbulence. 500 feet. We did kind of have to race to get down a little bit. I was not expecting the runway to be that close. So don't judge that. Sometimes you have to get down steep.
Minimums.
Okay.
100. 50. 40. 30. 20. 10.
Beautiful. Beautiful. We are not using thrust reverse. We just beta the props.
80 knots.
There's no need to use thrust reverse in the Q400. There's times when I do use it, but it's not all the time.
60 knots.
Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have arrived at our destination. Please remain seated until the aircraft has come to a complete stop. On behalf of the captain and crew, we thank you for flying with us and hope you will join us again.
Okay. So I really appreciate y'all riding with us today. Once again, this was Colgan Air flight 4853 from Buffalo, New York, using the Fly Tampa Buffalo scenery, to Washington Dulles International using default scenery with Airport Environment X from Zentech, I think is the name of the company. That's what makes the windows and everything look much sharper, much more HD, much more crisp. It redoes all building textures, as well as taxiway textures if you choose to use those over Rex, which I don't. I use Rex, so I use Rex Texture Direct 4. What's that sign say? Terminals A, C. Now I like that. I don't see that very often. I definitely like that. We're looking for a Q400 ramp, which is going to be a small ramp. Okay. We are waiting for a follow me truck to show up, which there he is right there. So we are going to follow him to the gate since I'm extremely unfamiliar with Washington Dulles. Okay, so we will follow him to our gate. Well, maybe, maybe not. Where the heck is he going? Okay. Let's do a U-turn here, and where the heck? I don't know if this guy passed driving school or what. I'm a firm believer in stronger regulations for airport personnel, especially now. But now he's flooring it, so I don't know what's up with him. Maybe it would have been better to land on runway 30 because we would have been over there to the left and would have been a shorter taxi, probably. But oh well, it doesn't matter. I enjoy taxiing. The only airport I really don't enjoy taxiing at, but I'm getting to like it a little bit better, is Denver International. Wait up there, follow me. Okay. I guess my only real pet peeve about the Majestic Q400 is the fact that you cannot use the rudders to steer. You have to use your yoke or joystick, and I dislike that tremendously, but what can you do? If I knew of a way to edit that in the config to use the rudders, I would definitely do it. Or if it's possible in FSUIPC, I don't know if it is or not. If somebody knows how to fix that or how to do that, please let me know. I would be very grateful to know how to do that. And that looks like that might be our gate up there on the left, possibly. Not 100% sure. Actually, it might be there on the right. It's hard to tell with the scenery. I am liking the weather out here, though, I gotta say that. Okay, that looks like our gate way down there at the end on the right. Possibly, or maybe it's right here even. I am so lost. Probably wouldn't hurt to get a chart out or use FS Commander, which I do use sometimes. Not as really a navigational aid, I use it as a secondary backup sometimes to make sure I'm going the right way or just to see what the route looks like. But I definitely like using it for the ground interaction. When you're on the ground, it shows the taxiways and all that. That's one thing I do actually like about that. So there's our gate there. So we're going to start slowing down here. I'm going to turn the taxi lights off. This has me very confused on how they're doing this here. Okay, I see how they're doing this here. It's actually sideways from the way it actually should be. So it's a little odd. Okay, that works. Not quite perfect, but it works. Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, the door is open. Please make your way to the exit, and please make sure you have all your personal items and carry-on luggage.
Alright, folks. Well, once again, this was Captain Walton. I really appreciate you riding with us today on United Airlines Colgan Air Flight 4853 from, once again, Buffalo, New York to Washington Dulles International. Join us next time for Colgan Air Flight 4884 from Washington Dulles International to Newark, New Jersey. Captain Walton, God bless. Be safe out there. Good day.